Hello everyone, this is your girl Asia from the Roman Reigns Fangirl channel. I am so excited today because I just finished this movie called The Immigrant. And man, this movie was so good. I did have my mixed feelings about it. I will get into everything. No updates. Everything I need to know is in my thumbnail. This video will be me specifically talking about the love triangle in this movie. So this movie is called The Immigrant. It came out in 2014, just in case y'all don't know. The love triangle involves Eva, Bruno, and Emilio. Now, before I even get into love triangle, let me just run this down. I really didn't think this movie was really going to really impress me because it took place in 1921, and I just felt like, I don't really like old shit like that for real, for real. You know, you feel me? I'm like, let me just watch something new. I'm watching it. Kind of took a long time to get to the spicy shit, but let me tell y'all, when Bruno cousin Orlando came on the screen, off top I knew we were in for some good shit, right? So let me just give y'all a rundown of the movie before I get into the love triangle. You know, because I'm not gonna get into every Nick and Crane. I'm just gonna be talking about the love triangle specifically. But let me just get y'all a little rundown. So Bruno is a pimp. Okay, he's a pimp. He runs a fake movie theater, but he actually does prostitution, shit like that. Eva needed a job. Her sister is sick. She got a lung disease and she had no way to pay for it. So off top, Bruno was weird because what is you in the immigration line for asking women if they speak English if you don't plan on taking them to New York to do, prostitution work? So he asked her, does she know how to speak English? Did she speak it well? And she was like, yeah. And she said she need work. She need to make money because her sister is sick. So he said he'll take her back to New York, get her a job, etc., etc. They get to New York, and she find out the real job is the prostitution. A man came in the movie theater asking, he need his son to get more into his masculine traits. So he asked Bruno if Eva was available. Is she a new worker? Does she do anything? And he was like, no, she's not that type of girl. But she did it anyway for him. He basically forced her into prostitution. She didn't want to do it, but she didn't have no other way to get the money for her sister's care, y'all. So she's doing the prostitution. One night, this is literally the next day after the prostitution. Literally the next day after she slept with that 15-year-old boy. She got the money, and Bruno got drunk. They at the house. He laying on the floor drunk, talking about he want her to love him. Blah 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 blah. She packed her shit and she left. She went to the house where the woman was supposed to be taking care of her sister. Sister went in there. They wanted her person found out she's an immigrant. She not really from New York. They try to put her ass back on the boat to get deported. Why this nigga Bruno tracked everybody down to get information about this woman to see where she went to? Bro, he literally tracked her down. He was manipulating her from the beginning. Everything he would say sounded rehearsed. It sounded like he knew how to say all the right things. He knew that she was desperate for money, and he took advantage of that, right? So boom, I'm finna get into the love triangle shit. I just gave y'all a rundown. So when she had ran away from Bruno, Orlando was down there, doing a show because he liked to dance or whatnot. So he dancing. He saw her at his little show. They talking and whatnot, and he said, "Where's she from?" She said, "The movie theater where Bruno work at." He was like, "Oh, I used to work there and everything like that, but I stopped because I would get really drunk and had a gambling problem." And then after that, this when she was on the boat to get deported, Bruno came looking for her, and she told Bruno that everything between them was going to be specifically professional. None of that weird shit. None of that. She's just in this strictly for money. So boom, they get back to the movie theater, right? And the owner of the movie theater, Rosie, she told Bruno his cousin is working there again. He gonna be performing shows, dancing for the people, and he had a real big problem. Like, this man was, he was getting angry. Like, he was furious that his cousin was working in the theater. He told him the guidelines, like, there needs to be respect, no funny business, blah 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 blah. So he telling him the ground rules. Orlando saw Eva peeking around the corner listening to their conversation. He was like, hey, don't I know you from somewhere? He said, didn't I see you before? And Bruno was like, you not allowed back here, blah, 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 blah. Now, Eva, she's not a dancer. She's just a prostitute. Some of the women at the theater, they're dancers, you know, they're erotic dancers and whatnot. She isn't that. So Orlando thought she was an erotic dancer. He brought her on the stage, and she completely embarrassed herself because she don't know a damn thing about dancing. That's not what she do. She is a prostitute. So Bruno was pissed because he put her on that stage to embarrass her. And Orlando went backstage to apologize to her, to say that he didn't know that she wasn't a dancer. He thought since she worked here, she was a dancer, right? He didn't know she did the side hustle shit. So he went back there to apologize. Bruno on the stage calling out all the dancers or whatnot. He go backstage to see what's taking the one dancer too long. I'm talking about when this nigga saw Orlando and Eva talking, this nigga went red. I'm talking about he went savage. He went savage, y'all. He started chasing this nigga Orlando all around the movie theater. I'm talking about this nigga was moving so fast like he was motherfucking Road Runner. That nigga was vroom, vroom, wee, skirt, just to get this nigga, just to get his hands on this nigga because he was talking to her. He said, you're not supposed, he said, you're not allowed to look at her. You're not allowed to touch her. You're not supposed to be nowhere near her. And my mom just like so confused. I'm like, bro, why is she different than the other ones? He don't got the same rules for the other dancers. The man could do whatever the fuck they want to do with the other dancers. But for her, it's like she's special. Like, he just don't want no one to like fuck up her innocence because, like I said, she an immigrant. She don't really know too much about America. So for that, people could take advantage of her like he did. But anyway, we finna get into that. I'm finna clock that scene in a minute. So boom, he's chasing Orlando all around the movie theater. Skip. This 15-year-old boy said he had money he would give to her, not to have sex, but to show her around the neighborhood. So he take her to this apartment that Orlando was staying in. Orlando gave this boy money to get her to come to the apartment so they could talk and spend some time together. He telling her that he's, been traveling around the world. His next stop is to travel to New Jersey and everything like that in California, the sunny shine states. And she asked him, why did he give that kid so much money? And he said because he wanted to see her, and because after the first conversation they had at his show, he couldn't stop thinking about her. So Bruno was counting the money that the 15-year-old boy gave him, and he said it was short. So he ran. He ran to the apartment complex that the little boy was staying in, gave him the address and shit like that so when he could go pick up Eva. Boom. He come in, he see Eva and Orlando sitting at the table, chit-chatting like they in love. He went savage. My nigga went crazy. He breathing hard. He got the crazy look in his eye like he really want to fuck this nigga up because he really think Eva is his girl. This nigga is delusional. But I'm about to get into that, y'all. Like, this love triangle was so messy. It was full of drama. It was tea. He told Eva to step out the room so him and Orlando could have they need to talk about gentlemen. So Orlando like, yeah, we need to talk. Orlando wanted to get Eva off the streets. He's saying that she shouldn't be on the streets because she's so beautiful and too smart to be on the streets. She got a real big future ahead of her and shouldn't be using her body for money. So boom. Bruno was like, you don't talk to her. You don't look at her. And he said she's not going anywhere with you ever. And then, Orlando just clocked that tea and just said what everybody else is thinking. You're in love with her. You're falling in love with her. But the woman you're so called in love with, you're having her use her body to make you money. What? So when Orlando was like, if you so in love with her, then why do you have her on the streets? So Bruno got mad, pulled a knife out. He tried to kill this nigga. He tried to slice him up. All types of shit. He got locked up. He was in jail for the night. Him and Eva walking home. Eva asked him why does he hate his cousin so much because family's supposed to be close. And he said the reason why he can't stand Orlando is because he had a woman before that was just like her who didn't know anything about America. He didn't want that girl to know about his life of being a pimp. But Orlando, was friendly. The girl fell for his charm. He took her down to the movie theater and saw what Bruno really does for work. She, you know, cut things off for Bruno and she left him for his cousin. So basically, Bruno is basically an insecure man. He basically gets infatuated with women, falls in love with them, and uses them. And Orlando is like the complete opposite. He tries to help the women who are with Bruno because he know Bruno is bad news. Like, he's incapable of loving anyone. You feel me? And even Orlando even told Eva that Bruno kind of admitted to him that he's in love with him, and she said that she doesn't think Bruno is capable of loving anyone, and between them it's just strictly business. He's to give her money so she can pay for her sister's health care. So Bruno said that's why he can't stand Orlando because he stole the last woman he was in love with, and he'll be damned if he let him do it again. He kept telling her, stay away from him, stay away from him. So she's staying with Bruno. He literally got 24-hour security on this girl. She can't leave the house. Like, I'm talking about he got her caged up like she a motherfucking prisoner. So Orlando comes to the house and he telling her he coming back from his traveling trip, telling her about all the beautiful stuff he saw. And he said that he gambled a lot of money. He gambled and won a lot of money to where they can leave and get out of here, start a new life, and they can get her sister. And she was like, where would we go? He said we could go anywhere. Because he said he was in love with her. And she said Bruno then went crazy. He got a gun for her when he come back. So Bruno mind is already to kill this nigga if he ever come to take his girl. You feel me? So Orlando took all the bullets out the gun. They hear Bruno coming up the stairs. Before Eva told Orlando to leave so will be no friction. Before Orlando left, he gave her a kiss. Him and Eva got so much chemistry. I felt nothing between Eva and Bruno because had he would have went, how can I explain this? If his intentions were pure with Eva, maybe I can ship it. But I refuse to ship it because his intentions weren't pure. He basically saw this woman who was desperate and used her for his own gain because he's just a disgusting, selfish person. Then fell in love with her and then still had her hustling and selling her body for money for him on the streets. And then it's just a lot. I'm going to get to his confession in a minute, y'all. It's just a lot. Let me get to this shit. So Eva walk out in the hallway, her and Bruno talking. And he's saying that someone from the house that her sister is staying in the medical field is saying that she's recovering. She's doing really good with her recovery and her, she's starting to come around from her sickness. And he was asked her, would she be interested in going down there to see her sister tomorrow? Before she could even answer him, Orlando come out and Bruno is pissed. He was like, Eva, you were with him. How could you? And he said, what are you doing here, Orlando? He said, I got enough money for me and her can leave and get her sister and get out of here and go anywhere. And Bruno was like, how did he possibly rank up all that money that fast? Eva like she gonna go with him, and he said that she's only known him for a few days. He's the one with all the connections. He saved her from that ship that was going to be deported, and she was just about to leave him high and dry. So Orlando put the gun to his head and told him to tell Eva she's free to go. She's no longer your prisoner. Tell her that, and she gone. And Bruno was like, he never thought he was hurting her. He was never keeping her as a prisoner. And Orlando was like, tell her that she's free. Before he can even say anything, Orlando pulled the trigger, but it had no bullets in it. But Bruno sliced this nigga up. He stabbed him in his chest, right? Because he said he thought he was going to kill him. So his survival instinct came in and he killed him. Boom, bada boom, bada bang. So that's the end of the little triangle. Now, let me talk about my thoughts. I feel like they killed Orlando a little too fast. I feel like had he stayed alive, we really could have got who she would have picked. You feel me? Like, I really feel like that was unsatisfied to me that we didn't get to see her pick. And Bruno, let me just tell him, he was going to get picked because his confession, you're a scumbag and you're disgusting. You're disgusting. You killed her uncle, number one. So I have a question. Was he stalking her? How did he become so infatuated so fast to where he had a plan in his head where he like, I'm gonna kill her uncle and make it seem like she ain't got nowhere to go, and then I'm going to come to that immigration line and ask these women do they speak English so they can come back to New York and work for me. And for some reason she the only one who could speak perfect English. How is that so clever when he killed her uncle, right? In his confession he said he killed her uncle so she could come back to him to New York. He said when he realized she was sensitive and innocent and sweet and pure and she isn't like the rest of the girls, he fell in love with her. But him falling in love with her didn't stop his selfish need to sell her out to make money for his empire. And I'm thinking in my head, why would she pick you? Why would she fall in love with you? Why would she give you the time of day? If you're sitting here and telling her, even though you was in love with her, you still was going to use her to make your money. Like, no, I don't want to be with you. Fuck you. You used me. You saw that I was an immigrant and I needed to make some money, and you basically manipulated me into coming with you, and then manipulated me into using my money for using my body for money. No, I really wish Orlando would have stayed alive, because her and Orlando, even though he got on the screen during the second half of the movie, they did have chemistry. They had a vibe, and I just really wish I wonder what it would have been like had she walked out of that barn and ran to him and her sister, and they just would have left. Like, you feel me? Like, leave Bruno toxic ass behind. He just likes to get infatuated and obsessed and possessed with women and think they are his and they belong to him. Because of what? Because of his insecurities? Well, learn how to be more like your cousin. Learn how to treat a woman. Maybe she'll stay with your ass. Stop treating women like property and objects. Maybe they won't run for the fucking hills. I would have probably shipped him and Eva if his intentions were right, but they weren't. He just used her and manipulated her. He manipulated the hell out of her. I do feel like both of them were infatuated by her, but I really feel like Orlando cared for her well-being way more than Bruno did. That's just my opinion. That's y'all ain't gotta agree with me. That's just me. But I feel like Orlando really cared for her. I don't think Bruno did. Bruno, I do think he was in love with her because he came off very obsessive and possessive for a woman he just met. And it's like, where in the movie was he falling in love with her? Because it really wasn't really an exact moment where you could feel like, oh, he definitely feeling her. It wasn't until his cousin came around he felt like, oh no, she belonged to me. Ain't no way in hell I'm allowing this to become something. You feel me? Because like he said, the last girl he was with, he wasn't dating, of course, but was infatuated with, she ran off with his cousin. So he felt like any woman that's different, pure, innocent, off top, they belong to him. That is so weird. I mean, yeah, Joaquin Phoenix, real zodiac sign in real life, is a Scorpio. So I guess it makes sense for him to have that mindset. But no, baby, don't nobody belong to you. You want a woman to really love you? Learn how to treat her like a human being and not a motherfucking object. Period. But I feel like this love triangle was the best thing about the movie, because had the love triangle not been there, I probably wouldn't have finished watching it. Because like I said, I'm not really a big fan of old movies like taking place in the 1921s and shit like that. And I feel like had it been taking place in the earlier 2000s, they could have did more with the prostitution. But, you know, they went the more dramatic route. You feel me? But that's my video for today. Until next time, I'ma see y'all. Peace.